I inquired, "Are you ready to leave yet?" as I surveyed the virtually deserted apartment. My friend sighed. My companion said, "Just waiting for the movers." They responded, their voice slightly relieved by the anticipation. "Honestly, I won't miss seeing you around," according to them, and changing the locks like I try to break in, that was a bit much. It seemed futile to inquire about Larry's extreme cautions, which I had always pondered. Larry, the man I initially met, was shy and self-conscious about his reputation. His behavior after we were married may be described as that of a henpecked spouse. Larry appeared, visibly distressed, a week subsequent to my relocation. "Please, it's me. Come on," he pleaded. I gave him the look of confusion as I answered the door, pretending not to know who he was. "This is Lauren. Working 5 days a week. I am 37 years old." The hint was lost on Larry. "Larry and I tied the knot 4 years ago. Even though we are childless, I have faith that we may discover true joy as a couple. We used to stay up late discussing our aspirations when we were first married. I felt like we both enjoyed each other's company despite our lack of love experience. Let's be that couple that grows old together," I said one night. "You heard me." "I think that's a good idea," he remarked. "Maybe for kids, a boy and a girl." It was my exact thought as well. I nodded in agreement. I thoroughly enjoyed their casual discussions. Meeting Larry had caught me off guard since I had never given any thought to love or marriage. I went to the party grudgingly, but that's when we met. He appeared equally disinterested in being present, and our mutual lack of excitement allowed us to form a bond. We began our friendship that night. Larry was quiet and solemn, although he was always generous in his kindness toward me. That was delightful to me. Then he suddenly made a proposal. "Lauren, would you be my wife? Making you happy is my goal." "Oh, really? How? But we're not even dating," I responded, taken aback. Larry remained steadfast. I wasn't scared off by his self-assurance, even if it threw me off guard. I found myself fantasizing about a future with him instead. "If you're okay with me, then yes," I responded. There was no mistaking his joy at that very moment. It finally clicked for me why life may be so unpredictable at times. Had faith that tying a knot with Larry would lead to a wonderful life together. We married hastily, only 3 months after our first meeting. Our voyage was a little sloppy due to our lack of love experience, but that added to the fun. Nevertheless, I began to perceive a significant disparity between my expectations and the reality of our marriage approximately 1 month after we moved in together. When Larry normally laughs and jokes, he approached me one day looking quite serious. "Lauren, I have some serious business to discuss," he added with an air of seriousness. His request that I leave my career and stay at home and take care of the family caught me off guard. This request was completely unexpected. Before this, Larry had never complained about my work, but now he's acting strangely. "Why are you asking me this?" Confusion swept over me as I inquired. "When you work, it makes me feel unneeded," he said. "Did someone put this idea in your head?" I inquired, seeking to comprehend the source of this. "Yes, but in my workplace, the spouses of the other men never leave the house. That's unfortunately the way it is," he said. "My intentions to continue working were very apparent from the start of our marriage. We needed to save up for the life we envisioned, therefore it was crucial." I was taken aback by Larry's abrupt request. "We agreed that I would keep working after we got married, didn't we?" I scolded him. Saying, "I know," he continued, "but as my wife, I hoped you'd consider my feelings." Instead of prioritizing our happiness as a marriage, he was more concerned with conforming to societal norms. "How about we pretend I've left?" I was reluctant to leave my position, so I proposed that nobody has to know. The more Larry worried about other people's opinions of him, the worse he felt. "Coworkers and supervisors will make fun of me if I don't accomplish something soon. It is my responsibility to lead this family, isn't it? He was uninterested in considering my perspective and adamantly demanded that I do as he said. Such a major choice is too much for me to handle at this moment. In an effort to buy myself some time, I expressed the need for some time to contemplate. "All right," he responded, "but really make a decision soon." His tone was one of urgency and firmness. Couldn't afford to let this problem fester any longer than necessary. The consequences of delaying a decision were too terrifying to contemplate. Seeking advice, I turned to my boss, Cheryl. She had worked as an administrative assistant since high school and had gone through a similar situation with her controlling ex-husband. Eventually, her marriage ended in divorce, and now she was a strong, independent single mother, someone I deeply admired. "That must have been tough," I said, thinking about her story. The idea of divorce crossed my mind, and I reflected on her courage and resilience. As Larry and I navigated the early days of our marriage, we found ourselves at a difficult crossroads. It's tricky since we're still newlyweds, I thought, considering the weight of his request. The idea of quitting my job felt like giving up a piece of myself, but I couldn't ignore the strain this issue was putting on our relationship. I hadn't fully figured things out, but I knew leaving my job would make it hard to find a similar position later. I decided to share my concerns with Isabella, my boss and mentor. "I'm not planning to quit right away," I explained. "I'm trying to find a way to keep working, maybe by staying part-time for now. If I switch to full-time, it might draw too much attention." "That's a smart approach," Isabella said, encouraging my decision to negotiate with Larry. "If he still doesn't agree, we could officially reduce your hours to part-time." "That might work better," I said. "That sounds like a solid plan. Thank you for supporting me." Isabella's reassurance felt like a lifeline during the chaos of my marital struggles. Our conversation deepened, and Isabella revealed that her ex-husband had also changed drastically after they got married. Her story felt unsettlingly similar to mine. Began to see how some men could become almost unrecognizable after marriage, which made me question if Larry had missiled me before we tied the knot. Despite countless talks, Larry and I reached a deadlock. "Isn't it a wife's role to support her husband and take care of the household after marriage?" he argued, clinging to old-fashioned ideas. "What era are you living in? These days, both spouses usually work," I countered, shocked by his outdated views. "That might be true for others, but we're different. You understand that, don't you?" he said, trying to convince me. "I understand where you're coming from, but I can't agree with it," I said firmly, asking him to see things from my perspective. But Larry didn't stop. Every day he pressured me to quit my job. Finally, after speaking with Isabella again, I decided to officially resign. However, I secretly continued working part-time 5 days a week. Isabella understood my situation and agreed to reduce my hours to help me manage things. "I've resigned from my job at the company, just like you wanted," I told Larry. "Keeping up the act, really? Thank you. Now I can feel more secure at work," he said, relieved and unaware of the truth. By this point, it was clear Larry cared most about how others saw him. His sudden change in behavior left me confused and disappointed. I chose to keep deceiving him, hoping it would protect both my independence and our marriage. But over time, I realized my hopes for a new beginning were misplaced. Even after my so-called resignation, Larry continued to dominate our relationship and let his frustrations out on me. One day, he suddenly announced, "A junior colleague is coming over today. I need you to host." "What? I didn't know about this," I said, startled. "Sorry, it was a last-minute decision. Just keep it simple, please. Have everything ready before they arrive," he added, rushing off. To my surprise, it felt like another layer of control in a relationship that was growing harder to endure. Before I could say another word, Larry hung up. Determined to meet his expectations, I prepared drinks and snacks for the guests. When Larry arrived, however, he wasn't pleased. "Didn't I ask you to prepare for today?" he scolded. "You said to keep it simple, and that's exactly what I did," I replied, confused by his reaction. "This looks so basic. It reflects poorly on me. I need you to fulfill your role as a wife properly," he added. "What does that even mean?" I did my best. "Is there something wrong with what I prepared?" I asked, genuinely puzzled. "No, not really," he muttered, his face unreadable, a far cry from the man I once knew. From that day on, Larry began hosting guests almost every week. While he enjoyed these gatherings, he expected me to always be ready to entertain, as if he wanted to show off how great his life was. "Larry, having people over every week feels like too much," I said one day. "It's fine. Everyone enjoys it, and you should support my decisions. It's your duty as my wife, Lauren," he responded firmly. But keeping up this lifestyle wasn't just exhausting, it was expensive. "How am I supposed to manage everything?" I asked, frustrated. "Stop complaining," he snapped, brushing off my concerns and avoiding any real answers. Every morning, I woke up early to prepare meals, make sandwiches for his lunch, and have his suit ready for the day. On days I worked part-time from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., I barely had time to rest. Despite the exhaustion, my job felt like my only escape. "Lauren, you seem tired lately. Are you okay?" my coworker Evelyn asked one day, noticing how worn out I looked. "Yeah, a bit," I admitted, grateful someone cared. "Let me know if there's anything I can do. I'm here for you," she offered warmly. "Thank you, Evelyn. You've been such a great support," I replied, appreciating her kindness. Evelyn knew about my secret part-time job and had helped me keep it hidden from Larry. "I appreciate everything you've done for me," I told her one day. "Paul mentioned it, but I never thought Larry would act this way," she confessed. "Neither did I. I've tried talking to him, but he won't listen. We barely even have meaningful conversations anymore," I sighed, feeling overwhelmed. "I'm sorry, Lauren, but don't be too hard on yourself. You're doing so much, managing work and everything at home. That's impressive," Evelyn reassured me. Her words meant a lot. Living with her support made my struggles more bearable, a stark contrast to the stress I faced at home. But Larry seemed uncomfortable with how close Evelyn and I had become. Then, one day, he made a shocking decision. "Where's Evelyn? What happened to her?" I asked, noticing her absence. "She's gone," he replied flatly. "What do you mean, gone?" I questioned, my heart sinking at his sudden and cryptic words. "Mom's getting older, and I thought it would be better for her to be in a facility," Larry replied casually. "You actually put her in a home?" My voice cracked, barely hiding my disbelief. "Yeah, I just got her settled into the new place. Now I have the house to myself," he said, as though he had just completed an ordinary task. "I was at my parents' house when this happened, and I couldn't believe he had made such a big decision on his own. His mother was older, sure, but she wasn't at the point of needing full-time care. It became obvious that he had sent Evelyn away just to have the house to himself. When I visited Evelyn at the facility, she looked surprised but resigned. "I'm sorry it came to this," I apologized, feeling guilty. "It's not your fault," Evelyn reassured me. "I never thought he'd go this far. I'm just worried about what he might do if I resist. I'll miss you, but I'll be okay. If you need anything, you can always visit me here." "Thank you," I replied, the weight of the situation sinking in. Afterward, Larry and I moved into his parents' home. Despite managing the household carefully and doing everything I could to keep things in order, Larry never acknowledged my efforts or showed any appreciation. The idea of having children, a topic we had once eagerly discussed, now seemed like a distant dream. Larry began spending more time away from home and ignoring me. On top of that, he started imposing strange rules. For example, I had to stay awake until he returned home, no matter how late it was. If I woke up later than him in the morning, he would get angry. "What time will you be home tonight?" I asked one evening. "I'm not sure. Just stay up until I get back, okay?" he instructed as if it were normal. One day, after a similar conversation, Larry came home late. As I took his suit to hang it up, I noticed something odd. There was a sweet, feminine scent on his clothes, a perfume I didn't recognize since I didn't wear any. It was clear evidence of an affair. Every time he came home late, I would catch the same scent. That day, he suggested something unusual. "Why don't you go to bed early tonight?" His suggestion raised my suspicions even more. Quietly, I went to the living room and overheard a conversation. "Oh, she's clueless. When are you going to leave her?" a woman's voice asked. "I'll kick her out soon enough," Larry's voice responded, unmistakable and clear. Their voices carried easily, especially the woman's, which was loud and confident. From their conversation, it was clear this relationship had been going on for a while. The perfume incident hadn't shocked me, but overhearing their words left me feeling disgusted. Larry was still my husband, yet his treatment of me was harsh and unchanged. Despite all my hopes for things to get better, nothing had improved. As we approached the 3rd anniversary of our marriage, Larry surprised me yet again with something I never saw coming. "Have a business trip that day after tomorrow. I need you to get everything ready," Larry announced abruptly. "That's very short notice," I replied, suspicious of the sudden timing. "I'll be away for about 5 days. Please make sure my clothes are ready," he added. His words didn't sit right with me. I couldn't shake the feeling that this so-called business trip was just an excuse to spend time with his mistress. I remembered a warning from a colleague's wife at a company gathering. "Be cautious if he suddenly mentions a business trip. Our company doesn't even have those." Her words echoed in my mind as I pieced things together. My suspicions had been confirmed earlier when I accidentally found a chat on his phone, which he'd left in the living room. The messages revealed he had taken paid leave for this trip. That discovery was a turning point for me. I knew our marriage was falling apart. Armed with proof of his affair, I decided to confront him with divorce papers when he returned. But Larry reacted first. "Are you ready to leave? The movers will be here soon," he said coldly as he walked through the door. "Why are you saying this all of a sudden?" I asked, stunned by his bluntness. "I need you out of the house before I get back," he demanded. "You can't just spring this on me and expect me to leave immediately," I countered, trying to make sense of his behavior. "Fine, but start packing." "I'll wait a bit," he said dismissively. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The man I once thought was gentle and overly concerned had become cold and domineering. This was the final straw. The future I had envisioned with him felt like a distant memory. Living with someone like this, I realized there was no bright future ahead. As I packed my things, he added almost casually, "Oh, I'm changing the locks too." "Got it," I replied quietly, my heart sinking. "The thought of not having to see her face again is a relief," he says his parting words. After nearly 4 years of marriage, convinced our relationship was beyond saving, I left the house that same day. Soon after, I instructed my lawyer to file for divorce. But Larry didn't stop there. Boldly, he began posting pictures with his mistress on social media, openly flaunting their relationship. It was shocking how reckless he was, not realizing he was providing even more evidence of his affair. Even our mutual friends noticed his strange behavior, marking the public unraveling of what we had once shared. After leaving my in-laws' home, I looked back at everything that had happened. I no longer felt sadness, only relief that I was finally free from the weight of our broken marriage. I transitioned back to full-time work and moved into a high-rise apartment in the suburbs, a place I had always dreamed of living. The apartment was spacious, perfect for one person, and felt wonderfully freeing without Larry around. About a month after settling in, I was startled one morning by the sound of the doorbell. Looking through the monitor, I was shocked to see Larry standing outside. "Hey, it's me, Larry." "Open up, Lauren," he called out, his tone confident and demanding. His sudden appearance and entitled attitude left me speechless. Deciding to act like I didn't know him, I spoke through the intercom. Who are you?" "I'm sorry, but I don't know you," I said calmly. "Don't tell me you've forgotten your husband's face," he exclaimed, clearly frustrated. "I'm not married. I think you've mistaken me for someone else," I replied, watching as his desperation grew. His face looked nothing like the timid man I once knew. "Please just listen to me. I've been deceived and I need Lauren's help," he pleaded. "I'm sorry, but I'm not obligated to help you. If you don't leave, I'll have to call the police," I said firmly, keeping up my act. Larry seemed to think I would always be there to solve his problems, but I was no longer that person. He refused to give up, though, and his tone turned desperate. "You can't just leave me to deal with this. You don't have to be so tough on me," he whimpered. "And by the way, you can't stay at your parents' house anymore," he added suddenly. "What do you mean? Do you even know whose name the house is under now?" I asked, surprised. "No, but it's not mine anymore," he said hesitantly. "That's right. It used to belong to Evelyn. Now it's in my name," I explained, revealing the significant change he didn't know about. I confided in Evelyn after Larry had asked me to leave. The disappointment and anger she showed at his behavior was obvious. "I still can't believe my kid is this bad. I sincerely apologize, particularly considering the assistance you have provided us," Evelyn had informed me during one of our conversations. "Evelyn, are you going to file for a divorce from Larry?" she had asked softly. "Indeed, it's Destiny's plan," I affirmed. In that case, she had begun offering her full support for my decision. Even as he stood at my door that morning, Larry was certain he could control me. Yet, I had progressed. Who I was when I put up with his antics has changed. He was left outdoors to cope with the chaos he had caused after I turned off the intercom. "I'll transfer the house to you," Evelyn announced, wholly unexpectedly, catching Larry and myself off guard. Why would she do that? After everything he had done to me, Larry would have been perplexed by such a choice, not knowing that Evelyn was lending me support. Unbeknownst to Larry, he had been residing with his mistress among all this mayhem. "I'm telling you the truth." By forcefully telling him, "Understand the situation and leave," I ended all chance of reconciliation or interference with my life. Even though I didn't anticipate seeing him again, I warned him that I would not think twice about involving the authorities if he attempted to get in touch with me. That being said, he did indeed depart one morning. I received the agreed-upon settlement, and the divorce proceeded according to plan. Larry's decisions had ended in disaster. Once his money ran out, his mistress abandoned him after manipulating him financially. Larry was already in a tough spot before the divorce settlement, which totaled around $500,000. I, however, would not rest on my laurels. To make sure that any money allegations against him were thoroughly investigated, I retained the services of an investigator and an attorney. As part of the settlement, which appeared hopeful, I also sought an extra $25,000. The house was formally transferred to me at the same time. Larry was reluctant to leave at first, but he eventually gave in due to legal pressure. Leaving was his only option. I am clueless about his present predicament and have little desire to learn more. Eventually, Larry's employer found out about the social media posts featuring him and his mistress. He decided to quit his employment because he couldn't deal with the shame or pretend to live the opulent lifestyle he had once enjoyed. Given his character, it appeared to be a foregone conclusion. Looking back on everything that transpired, I would state, not that it bothers me. The fact that I am now divorced doesn't dampen my optimism. Rather, I view it as a chance to learn and grow. Despite my continued closeness to Evelyn, I am fully committed to advancing my profession and enjoying life on my own terms as a single woman. This new chapter promises a lot of exciting possibilities, and I can't wait to take advantage of them.
Hey everyone, I'm Natalie, a 28-year-old fitness trainer. My journey hasn't been easy, but standing here with the keys to my brand new black sedan in hand, I can't stop smiling. It's a car I've dreamed about for years, and finally, it's mine. After a workout session, one of my clients, Elizabeth, approaches me. Wow, Natalie, is that your new ride? Her eyes widen with excitement. I nod, still grinning. Yep, just picked it up yesterday. Took a lot of extra shifts and saving, but it was worth it. Elizabeth gives me a high five. That's amazing. You're such an inspiration, always working hard and reaching your goals. As I bask in this moment of pride, my phone buzzes. It's a text from my mom. Sophie, we need to talk about your sister's situation. Family dinner tonight. No excuses. I sigh, my mood deflating a little. Don't get me wrong, I love my family, but our relationships are complicated. My mom has always been manipulative, my dad enables her behavior, and my sister Hazel, she's the epitome of entitlement. Later that evening, I reluctantly head to my parents' house. The moment I step inside, I feel the tension. There she is, Miss Independent, Mom says, her tone dripping with both pride and resentment. Nice of you to grace us with your presence, Natalie. I force a smile and sit down. During dinner, the conversation inevitably turns to money. Hazel whines about her recent job loss, conveniently omitting the fact she was fired for constantly showing up late. It's just so unfair, Hazel complains. They didn't even give me a chance to explain. I bite my tongue, remembering the countless times I've covered for her or lent her money she never repaid. Then, as expected, my mom chimes in. Well, maybe your sister can help you out, Natalie. You're doing so well with your training business. Surely you can spare some cash. I take a deep breath. I'm sorry, but no. I've worked hard for what I have, and I need to prioritize my own financial stability. The table falls silent. My dad clears his throat uncomfortably while Mom's eyes narrow. That's very selfish of you, Natalie. Family should always come first. I stand my ground. It's not selfish to have boundaries, Mom. I love you all, but I can't keep bailing everyone out. You need to learn to manage your own finances. A few weeks later, I'm at the gym, finishing up with a client when my phone starts buzzing nonstop. It's Hazel. I ignore it at first, but after the fifth call, I finally pick up. What is it, Hazel? I ask, trying to keep the irritation out of my voice. I lost my job, she wails. They fired me for no reason. I take a deep breath. I'm sorry to hear that. What happened? Oh, typical corporate BS. They said I was unreliable or whatever. Can you believe it? Anyway, I need to borrow your car for job hunting. I almost dropped my phone. Wait, what? No, Hazel. I need my car for work. How would I get to my clients? She scoffs. Come on, Natalie. You can take an Uber or something. This is important. I'm sorry, but no, my car isn't up for borrowing. I need it. The line goes dead. I know this isn't over. Sure enough, later that week, I get a text from Mom. Family dinner tonight. No excuses. As soon as I walk into my parents' house, I feel the tension thick in the air. Mom's eyes are narrowed, Dad looks uncomfortable, and Hazel is smirking. Sit down, Natalie, Mom says, her voice cold. We need to talk about your selfishness. I blink, confused. Excuse me? Dad clears his throat. Your sister needs help, kiddo. We think you should let her use your car. I can't believe what I'm hearing. Are you serious? I already told Hazel no. I need my car for work. Mom slams her hand on the table. Don't you care about your family at all? Hazel needs this. And what about what I need? I shoot back. I worked hard for that car. It's mine. Hazel pipes up, her voice dripping with mockery. You're just showing off. You don't really need it. You're so selfish, Natalie. I stand up, my chair scraping loudly against the floor. I'm not being selfish. I'm setting boundaries. I love you all, but I won't let you take advantage of me. What happens next feels like slow motion. Dad stands up, his face red with anger. Before I can react, his hand connects with my cheek in a sharp slap. The room falls silent. I touch my stinging cheek. shocked and numb. In the days that follow, my phone floods with messages from extended family and even some friends. Mom and Hazel have clearly been busy spreading their version of events. How could you abandon your family like that, Natalie? I thought you were better than this. Your poor sister needs help and you're being so selfish. I ignore most of them. I can't help feeling hurt and betrayed. How did standing up for myself make me the bad guy? My phone rings. It's my cousin Ryan, someone I've always been close to. Hey Natalie, I heard what happened. Are you okay? I take a shaky breath. Not really, Ryan. I can't believe they're turning everyone against me. He sighs. I'm sorry you're going through this. For what it's worth, I think you're doing the right thing. Don't let them manipulate you. His words offer some comfort, but I know I need more help. I start seeing a therapist, Dr. Martinez, and begin weekly sessions. It's hard at first, but slowly I begin to see things more clearly. One afternoon, as I leave therapy, my phone buzzes. It's a call from my bank. Miss Natalie, we've noticed some unusual activity on your account. There have been attempts to open new credit cards in your name. My heart sinks. I freeze, remembering all the times my parents had access to my personal information. Oh no, I whisper. I hire a private investigator named Mike to look into it. A week later, he confirms my worst fears. I'm sorry, Natalie. Your parents have been using your identity to open credit cards and take out loans. I feel sick. How could they do this to me? Just when I think things can't get worse, I get a frantic call from Hazel. Natalie, you have to help me, she cries. I'm in trouble at work. They're accusing me of embezzlement. I sigh. Hazel, what did you do? It's not what you think. I just borrowed some money. I was going to pay it back. Before I can respond, my mom calls. Natalie, your sister needs your help. You need to give her the money to pay back what she took. I can't believe what I'm hearing. Absolutely not. This is Hazel's mess. She needs to face the consequences. How dare you? Mom shrieks. After everything we've done for you. I laugh bitterly. You mean like stealing my identity? Yeah, I know about that. There's a long pause before my dad's voice comes on the line. Now, kiddo, let's not be hasty. We're family. We can work this out. No, I say firmly, we can't. If you don't leave me alone, I'll go to the police with everything I know. Mom's voice turns sickly sweet. Natalie, sweetie, think about what you're saying. You wouldn't want to tear this family apart, would you? I end the call, feeling drained but determined. The next day, my best friend Kate came over. I told her everything. Natalie, this is insane, she exclaimed. We need to protect you. Kate had an idea. We set up hidden cameras around my apartment and car. If they try anything, we'll have proof, she said, giving me a reassuring hug. A few days later, while at work, I got an alert on my phone. The camera had detected movement near my car. I pulled up the live feed and my blood ran cold. There were my parents trying to break into it. We'll take it while she's at work, I heard my dad say. She won't be able to prove anything. Mom nodded. It's for Hazel. Natalie owes us this much. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Kate, watching with me, put her hand on my shoulder. Natalie, you have to call the police. Hands shaking, I nodded and dialed. As I waited for the police, a strange mix of sadness and relief washed over me. This was it, there was no going back now. But for the first time in a long while, I felt like I was taking control of my life. They can't hurt me anymore, I whispered, watching the police car pull up on the camera feed. Word spread quickly about what my parents and Hazel had done. Their social circle shrank, and I heard through the grapevine that they were struggling financially now that they couldn't rely on manipulating others. A month later, I got a call from a detective. Miss Natalie, I wanted to inform you that your sister Hazel has been arrested for embezzlement. I felt a pang of sadness but knew it was for the best. Thank you for letting me know, I replied softly. The detective continued, also, we're moving forward with charges against your parents for identity theft. They're facing potential jail time. After I hung up, I sat in silence, processing everything. It was over, but in many ways, the journey was just beginning. I threw myself into my work, expanding my fitness business. I started offering online classes and even opened a small studio. My client base grew, and I found myself busier than ever. One evening, as I was locking up the studio, a new client, Mark, approached me. Natalie, I just wanted to say thanks. Your classes have really changed my life. I smiled, warmth filling my chest. That means a lot, Mark. Thank you. As time passed, I realized I was building a new kind of family. My clients became friends, and my friends became family. We had potlucks, game nights, and weekend hikes. One night, while cleaning up after a gathering, Kate pulled me aside. Natalie, I'm so proud of you. Look at everything you've accomplished. I nodded, a deep sense of peace settling over me. It wasn't easy, but I finally feel free. I've learned that family isn't just about blood. It's about the people who support you, love you, and respect your boundaries. The story of Natalie's triumph over her toxic family comes to an end. But now, I have a question for you. If you were in Natalie's shoes, would you have pressed charges against your parents and sister, or tried to give them one last chance?